'Tis the season to shop, 'tis the season to go out and explore, 'tis the season to give and to receive. And this morning we want to give you some great safety tips for the holidays. And to do that, I want to welcome back to the show, as per usual on a Monday, Inspector Michelle Lewis of the TTPS. Good morning and Merry Christmas to you, Inspector.
Good morning, Merry Christmas to you and your entire team on behalf of the Commissioner of Police and all sworn and unsworn officers. So yes, 'tis the season
Indeed.
to be shopping and to enjoy everything. So this Christmas in particular is one that, we came out of COVID. You could say it's pretty much back to normal, really, in terms of shopping and decorating and all kind of things like that. So the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service want to give some tips to shoppers in particular. So we're looking at shoppers, because last week we did some.
Right.
We looked at the business
owners side of things, right.
And so this morning, we know people are abuzz.
This week is the week.
For those who are paid, today and tomorrow,
we'll get paid early.
we will see some extra things happening.
Yeah.
So of course, when you're going out and you're shopping and you have your handbag, you have your monies, be careful the content, the amount that you have and how you display your finances. As far as possible, use debit or credit card.
Right.
It's easy as well to track your transactions. So when you you have your monies on you, try to separate it. Even when you're giving your children money, give
When it
them.
is separated, you mean like
So if
you're going to the store, you're going to spend $500, walk with that alone.
Right. Or let us say you have more than $500, but you have to go to this store and that store.
Right.
So you separate what you want, how much you anticipate to spend here, so that when you open your handbag or your wallet, all that money is not exposed.
Right.
So you separate it.
Okay.
So that not one person who's standing behind you can observe what you're doing and be able to rob you.
Right.
So we advise you to do that. We also advise you when you're allowing your children to go out to also give them safety tips.
Right.
So let them know, for example, that when they have their cell phone on them, to put it in their pocket, not have it on their person, not have it, showing and talking and that kind of thing.
Inspector,
because
that mean
those
they
are
gotta
one of these
put it
things.
down.
Well, we know for young people that's their network, right?
Exactly.
But it's also something that is stolen a lot.
Right.
And it's also an expensive item. And so it's one that gives distraction and it's one that causes persons, criminals to come to you.
Right.
So for children, we're asking you, young people, because they are not all children, to be cautious how you utilize that device. As well as when you're going shopping with your friends, to be careful how you pull out your money. Sometimes you want to show that you have money as a young person. It is not the best thing to do. Yes, of course, you want
People
to show
do
that
that.
young people,
Lord.
sometimes, not careful,
Yeah.
it happens. So when you are out there shopping with your friends, because most of them don't have a bank card as yet, right?
Okay.
So they would actually have cash.
But even with the bank card, though, I know that I was victim to it a couple of years ago, where my card was skimmed, so that I got a notification on my phone saying you just did a balance inquiry, and then within a matter of seconds before I could call, I see another notification come saying that take out a X amount of money, and I was like, but I home. I don't understand how that's happening.
Right. So wherever your bank card goes, your eyes go with it to ensure that you can see it. And if it is that the person turns, let them know that you want to see your bank card, whichever it is.
Right.
In most cases, this skimming is on the credit card, but it goes both ways.
Yeah.
So that you want to make sure that you always have visual of your card. For example, if you go into a restaurant and they said, well, okay, you walk with them and you go if they don't have a device that comes to your table.
Okay.
Right, to ensure that that kind of skimming and that those kind of fraud do not take place with you. And of course, when it happens, you notify the bank immediately and you'll get another one within, I think, probably 5 or 7 days.
Right.
Right.
What advice can you give in terms of people who maybe robbed while shopping, whether they're in a mall or in a major city or whatever the case may be, and they're shopping and they rob? What can they do? Is there
So
any?
shoplifting, it's still occurring. Even though we see businesses having CCTV cameras to assist and as a deterrent, we're still seeing that taking place, especially around festive times like Christmas. So when those things happen, you sound an alarm.
Right.
Because during this period, all 10 divisions within Trinidad and Tobago Police Service have launched their Christmas operational plan, so that you will see an increase of police officers, both on foot and mobile, day and night, throughout, not just busy areas, shopping areas, but also residential areas.
Okay.
So you sound an alarm, you shout out, and so you'll be able to get some assistance. We're not encouraging you to resist. Whatever they ask you for, you comply, because your health, your safety, your life, it's priceless. And so if you are robbed or whatever, ensure that, you know, you can give us some
Descriptions.
assistance. Yeah,
Right.
in terms of description, take note if there are any tattoos on the person's body,
Okay.
what type of clothing that they were wearing, what direction they would have
Yeah.
gone into.
I mean,
and stuff like
sometimes
that.
sometimes people get paralyzed by the fear
you
that
do.
happens as well.
Yeah, you do.
What can you give us any points as like, all right, I know this might be a very fearful situation to find yourself in, but can you give us maybe something one thing that you can focus on that would help the police be able to solve whatever needs to be solved?
All right. So take for example, so you're talking about shoplifting,
Right.
Right. There are some people, regardless to what advice you give, they just have an inkling for fear.
Right.
But there are some persons, even though they are like that and something happens, they would still be able to give you a relatively good account of what took place. And even though they cannot, you have other persons around who may be able to assist. So take, for example, something happened to you and you're kind
Blank.
of out of
Yeah,
sorts,
yeah,
you
blank.
know, you kind of thing. I mean, if you don't give us much to work with, you don't have much to work with. But if you can give us the direction and the color clothing,
It would help.
it will help. There are fine details that you may not be able to tell us. For example, you may not see tattoos that mightn't stick with you, but you might be able to say, well, the person had on a short jeans or a long jeans, a vest, and, you know, well, the back was to me, I was facing like this, so they had to run in that direction. You know, so simple details and basic stuff will still be able to help us. We'll be able to check to see if there are CCTV cameras based
Along
on what
the
you
road.
tell us,
Yeah.
along the road, to be able to help us to be able to solve that crime.
Okay.
So that even though you're a victim, we have an increased survivability rate.
Since the 10 districts have launched, the 10 divisions, sorry, have launched their Christmas campaigns and the Christmas efforts, have we seen any results as yet, or is it too early to measure that?
So we have, you know, I remember when we had the Porterspin there, His Worship the Mayor Alderman Martinez requested from the Porterspin division in particular to get some details and some facts about
Right,
how
some
we're
figures,
going and that
yeah.
kind of thing. Internally, that is accounted to the commission and the executive on a weekly basis, on a daily basis. The senior soup must give an account to their division. So we know that happens
Okay,
within.
okay.
I know, right, that it happens within. So there is this accountability and outcome of what the officers would have done and that kind of
Are
thing.
you
So
able
it
to
is
share any of it with us?
a
A little some, a little some.
Well, what at this time is giving us a challenge, as you know, is the homicides.
Right.
But outside of that, when we see the results of CAPA, because they report to us in the commissioner conference and
Right.
that kind of thing, you see where in every other area there are several successes. There are great successes, you know, and even during this season, we are not seeing as much, even though we anticipate. And so because we anticipate and we have been proactive in ensuring that we have officers on foot, because remember, officers are also called off vacation.
Right.
And you have officers who are in specialist section who are also called in to assist with that. So we're really seeing more, and I'm hearing members of the public saying that they're seeing police.
I
more
definitely
police
have
on
been
the
seeing
road.
more police.
So with
out and
that,
about.
of course, it's a deterrent
Right.
for shoplifters and persons who have criminal intent. What we also want to inform the public is that outside of the 999, 555 and those numbers that we generally call,
Right.
the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service has a new number, which is 736-8877.
736 TTPS. Right.
And that's a number that is attached to the Commissioner of Police and the Deputy Commissioner of Police.
Right.
And so if you have, you know, information that is valuable that you want to keep a particular way, anonymous and that kind of thing, and you really want to get quick, you know, you don't want it running.
Through the system.
Yeah. We advise you as well to utilize that number. It's an addition to be able to help, because we understand that people do have some concerns and we appreciate that. So we have given an additional number that can assist with something like that. So be
736
safe.
TTPS.
Be safe. Do not wear a lot of jewelry. Sometimes we wear costume jewelry that appears to be real, and
Yeah.
you also put yourself at risk. So minimize your jewelry. And when you are driving, you will encounter a lot of traffic during this Christmas week, this week, and of course next week. You can expect that. So pay attention to what you have on the seats of your vehicle, bags, valuables, your laptop, and that kind of thing. Place those items in the trunk of your vehicle, out of the eyes of anyone. We also have a lot of vendors throughout traffic on the roadways that are selling. Not all of them have well intent. We're not casting a solution, but you have to be very careful. And we know that there are networks that take place. So that it mightn't happen at this corner, but it doesn't mean it cannot happen at another junction. So we are saying to you, be careful and, be careful and cautious of how you speak and interact with vendors, salesperson, person coming for charity, and all those things. Even at your home, you would see more persons coming around to give service, to paint your yard, to power wash your yard, to work your yard, that can maintain your lawn.
Should you be keeping an eye on every person that's working in your property?
You must.
Okay.
Especially if it's not the regular person that you will use.
Right.
So when those persons come, so you're in a community, we advise you. Neighborhood watch is important.
Yeah.
It mightn't be
officially,
official, but you have that networking with your residents, so that let's say someone comes onto the street or in the area selling something, the person up the road must know that the person passed, and you all say, you all saw this person in the compound. This is really,
So you see,
so get that network.
Inspector, what I'm hearing you saying there is that the neighborhood Mako is a vital person in the neighborhood.
Vital.
Vital person. Very, very important.
But yeah, so we invite, all persons, be a Mako in your community to help.
Yeah.
Not just to, have that information. We call it Mako in Trinidad, but you're really being, your brother's keeper.
It's a good thing, exactly.
You're really being your brother's keeper.
Yeah.
And that will help to eliminate crime in your area. As well in some
As to be able to help solve if a crime were to happen and more people can describe, then you have a better chance of solving.
And then if someone has a camera down the road, they'll be able to pick that up as well.
All right. Well, Inspector, thank you for the safety tips this morning.
Yes.
And I believe this might be the last time that we see you for the year.
For the year, because next week Monday is a holiday.
It's a holiday. Next week Monday. Oh, no, so I know you're drinking plenty punch akram.
Well, not really.
No, you're working?
Next week, no.
All right. I just have to make sure.
No,
well,
sir.
I'm rough you up too much.
Yes, sir, I'm working. Madam Commissioner.
Inspector Michelle joined us this morning to give us some safety tips for the holidays. And I want to wish you and the entire TTPS a very, very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And hopefully for 2023, we'll be able to see some more reductions in crime as we go, because Jano, we need it.
Yes, we're going into the carnival period as well. So
the mother of all carnivals, the grandmother of all carnivals.
Yes,
it could be a fantastic time. I look forward.
Carnival.
Yes, I look forward to seeing you again next year, and for us to get some safety tips on carnival time rolls around as well.
So thank you very much for having us. Merry Christmas to you and your team, and of course all of Trinidad and Tobago and the world, because we know that this goes global.
Definitely.
TTT now is one of those international global that everybody listens to all over the world.
You tell them, Inspector.
My sisters and my brothers and they will all listen.
Well, happy birthday to your entire family. Merry Christmas and happy birthday.
We wish you the best. Of course, if you see something, say something. Dial 999. 555-800 tips, and of course 736 TTPS. Thank you.
We take that quick break, and when we come back, we are going to get into your birthdays. We're going to take your phone calls. We have so much more inside the Now Morning Show. I encourage you, stick around. It's going to be a great time.